Known to most people as their YouTuber of choice to watch while eating a meal, or a channel you can discover and easily go down the rabbit hole of watching a handful of their videos without getting bored, Jake Koehler, or more widely known online as DallMYD's, is the owner of the scuba diving and gemstone mining YouTube channel, which currently sits at 13.8 million subscribers and has dominated that niche for over 8 years now. He's worked closely with some of America's top security federations, helped with crime scene investigations, returned lost items to their owners, and formed a crew with a couple of the biggest creators in the space. But his online career wasn't always in this line of work, and some of his newer viewers may not know that. Surrounding his early life and run-up to becoming a content creator, Jake was born in the state of Georgia in 1991, and then raised in Huntington Beach, California, up until his high school years, which is where he learned how to surf and found his passion for anything water-related. After graduating from Huntington Beach High School, his family and he moved all the way to Alabama, which happened to be the home state of his family. Here, he'd pick up a strong love for scuba diving and freediving, as well as spending his later teenage years and early 20s either fishing at or exploring the Chattahoochee River area. At the time, Jake didn't have the disposable income to throw hundreds of dollars on a boat to use to carry his gear or get him from one part of the river to one of the smaller islands or the other side entirely. This meant that he had to come up with a method of travelling around using anything he already had access to, which just happened to end up being paddling on his surfboard with his gear balancing on the board. This would be how Jake would spend a huge portion of his young adult years, but that didn't stop him from also enjoying video games and looking up to the likes of FaZe Clan and Optic. This love for gaming and entertainment from trickshotting clans inspired Jake to create his YouTube channel and create Call of Duty videos all the way back in 2011. From then onwards, he would make videos of himself surfing, fishing, trolling in GTA Online, and playing Call of Duty. These videos did surprisingly well considering he was very new to the platform and was jumping into areas of YouTube that were already extremely saturated. But his big boom would be in the freediving and exploration space, which would be a video where he returned a lost GoPro.
Return the GoPro.
Bro, yeah. It caught some wind and it hit that tree.
Damn.
Step on this side of the tree, it fell on that side.
I couldn't find it the day he told me it like fell in here somewhere. Well, that was pretty nice. I feel good about myself giving back the camera, you know. I could have easily have kept it, but I'm glad he got it back.
And when he first recorded himself diving for treasure in 2015. These two videos alone became his most viewed IRL videos by about 700,000 views, and ultimately set Jake up to the success he has today. After realizing how much of a goldmine he had struck with these videos, he decided to drop gaming content altogether and go all in on treasure hunting and fishing. The thing with his videos is that they are so simplistic yet effective. He has no over-the-top thumbnails, editing, or effects. Just a humble guy with a lot of charisma and a video recipe that was destined to succeed every single time. Mix all of those aspects together, and he was beginning to average anywhere between the high six-figure views to several million views. 1, because it was an extremely easy watch, and 2, because there was barely anyone of his size doing the same thing. His status was skyrocketing, with views climbing significantly, as well as his subscribers, and in April 2018, he would upload his most popular video to date, titled "Found Jewelry Underwater in River While Scuba Diving for Lost Valuables," which gained over 65 million views and is still rising. This video was hit with some backlash, which you could have imagined, especially with it reaching the amount of people it has done. A lot of the complaints were saying how it looked as though Jake had placed the items he was finding before the recording started, because there was no way that much jewelry goes missing in one place. Since his huge surge of attention, Jake and his crew, which consists of his friends Yappy and Jiggin with Jordan, have not only appeared on several news broadcasts for their hard work, but they've also been involved with helping police with crime scenes when stumbling across weapons, returning lost items like engagement rings, phones, and cameras to their rightful owners. Jake himself has worked alongside the US Navy, the FBI, and the police force in a few of his videos, for both positive and negative reasons, and regardless of how the run-ins went, he won't stop helping until the end of his diving days.
What's up guys, Jake here. Today we're headed to a spot called Bonners Ferry located in Idaho to help FBI and police locate a missing murder weapon that was tossed into the river.
Jake then slightly changed his content in 2019 to allow for a new direction of content that he was taking. This would be mining for gemstones, which was a newfound hobby that he discovered his love for. He was still making his diving videos the prime focal point of his channel, but decided he wanted to switch up a little bit and experiment with different ideas. These videos became extremely popular within his community, some of which even surpassing his diving for treasure videos. I think because you could see Jake's pure happiness while mining for gems, his audience realised that maybe he needed a little break from being underwater, and they'd support him in whichever direction he went. What more could he possibly want? He was known as being a good Samaritan in his community for returning anything he could instead of keeping it himself and selling it on. He was helping federal departments solve crime scenes. He was, and still is, in one of the healthiest relationships with his long-term partner, Kindle, and he was making a living doing the things he loved. But unfortunately, this is where his journey hit some major roadblocks. In 2020, he was involved in a serious accident that ended up with Jake breaking his shoulder, tearing every muscle and tendon, as well as having 13 screws and a metal plate in his arm. Even though this was the worst pain he's ever felt in his life, he was more concerned about not being able to give his supporters any new content for a while, and didn't want them to feel like he was ghosting the platform all of a sudden.
Trying to be like a man about it, but dude, it's like worst pain I've ever felt my whole life. I don't want to just like ghost y'all for a little bit, you know, like if there's not videos in the next couple of days, I just want y'all to know.
It seemed like he didn't care about putting himself first. He wanted to provide for his community over anything, and was so upset that he'd be out of action for the foreseeable future. But this was just the first of several unexpected events. The next would be that his YouTube account got hacked in 2022. The hackers ran a crypto scam on his account and managed to steal 1.01 worth of Bitcoin from his followers, which works out to be around $21,000. Jake was left wondering why they targeted him, seeing as he's never made enemies with anyone, he's a likable person, and he's one of the more wholesome guys on the platform. It ultimately came down to the fact that he had 10 million plus subscribers, and that was it. Jake would eventually regain access to his channel, and things would settle down for about 9 months. This time, the situation was one of the most heartbreaking and shocking things he's ever experienced. In June 2023, he was invited to go in, check out, and ride on the OceanGate submersible, which very well could have wound him up in the devastating event that we all became aware of. Jake actually went on one of the trips days before the horrific incident, but the captain and the team decided not to go any deeper to explore the Titanic ruins because of malfunctions within the vessel. He even travelled in the same sub as the one that ended up a tragedy, but due to a last-minute cancellation as a result of poor weather and further communication issues, he returned to the surface safe and sound. Jake even filmed the infamous video game controller that was controlling the vehicle, as well as speaking about how the team were noticing faulty computers and communications on the submersible for the past few days.
Still no pings from the top side?
Hey Stockton, what are you using to control the submarine?
Then you're locked in. Okay to lock in?
Okay.
Go to dinner.
Okay.
He says that if the weather cleared up, it could have been him that lost his life, and he ended up making a video detailing what he experienced and how he felt after hearing the news. His thoughts and prayers will always be with the people involved in the tragedy, and has been left heartbroken with that thought on his mind for the rest of his life.
I don't know exactly the game plan for this particular dive. We never left a platform. If the fog didn't roll in and cancel the dive, who knows? Maybe we would have left that platform and maybe we would have imploded. But I can tell you right now, I feel like I dodged a bullet, but I also feel very bad for the families who lost loved ones. Like I said before, I didn't know these people too well, but they treated me very nicely, and I lost a few friends as well.
Nowadays, it seems like Jake is doing a lot better, and is healing from the experience he had last year. Obviously, that's not to say that he's ever going to be the same person, but he's got his smile back and is taking the time to spend days away with Kindle. His last upload was now over a month ago, which has some fans questioning where he is. In all fairness, he's probably just taking a break, since he's still remaining active on social media. Fingers crossed Jake's doing good though. He's one of the few long-term YouTubers that still looks as though they've got that passion in their heart.